The Buddha taught for 49 years, leaving countless scriptures that have influenced generations upon generations. However, many people are unaware that in the Buddhist tradition, the Buddha divided his teachings throughout his life into 5 distinct stages, known as the 5 periods of teaching. This is not only a manifestation of the Buddha's wisdom, but also a unique teaching method of the Dharma, progressing gradually according to the different capacities of sentient beings, ultimately guiding them towards the path of enlightenment. However, this raises a perplexing question. Why did the Buddha divide the Dharma teachings into 5 stages? How did he guide sentient beings through each stage from confusion to the full realization of Buddha nature? More importantly, how do these teachings of the Buddha relate to our lives today? Today, we will uncover the secrets behind this millennia-old wisdom. You will come to understand that the Buddha's teachings are not singular or fixed. It is like a precise map, helping different people find their own path to enlightenment. Whether you're a beginner in practice or already have some understanding of the Dharma, you can find your own answers in the Buddha's teachings found in the 5 Nikayas. If you are interested in Buddhist culture or are seeking inner peace and wisdom, please subscribe to my channel to join in listening to the teachings of the Dharma. May Amitabha Buddha bless everyone with the light of Buddha's wisdom in their hearts, fullness of Dharma joy, and unobstructed progress in practice. The core wisdom of the Dharma lies in dependent origination and diligent effort. Simply put, these 2 terms are the fundamental principles underlying the Buddha's teachings over 49 years. The term opportune moment, kika, refers to the Buddha teaching the Dharma entirely based on the capacities, needs, and conditions of sentient beings. Just as a doctor prescribes different medicines for patients with different ailments, the Dharma is not rigid and unchanging. It varies according to the person, time, and place. For instance, some sentient beings have shallow faculties, so the Buddha teaches them simple and easy-to-understand principles to help them liberate from basic afflictions. Others possess profound faculties, and the Buddha directly points to profound wisdom to assist them in progressing toward ultimate enlightenment. The Dharma is called the medicine appropriate for the illness precisely because it is established entirely based on the actual needs of sentient beings. The ultimate principle refers to the fact that although the form and content of the Dharma may vary according to individuals, its fundamental truth remains constant. Whether it is the Theravada or Mahayana teachings, whether the entire Dharma or the 10 Dharmas, their ultimate aim is to reveal the Buddha nature intrinsic to all sentient beings, helping them transcend afflictions and attain ultimate liberation. Therefore, although the Buddha's teachings vary greatly, they have never deviated from the core of Buddha Dharma, which is the true suchness and the emptiness of all phenomena. The wisdom of the Buddha lies in his ability to teach according to circumstances while never forgetting the true essence of the Dharma. This wisdom of aligning the opportunity with the principle pervades his entire discourse and establishes the unique ideological system of Buddhism. It can be said that the Dharma is both flexible and ultimate. It is not a lofty philosophical theory, but a guiding principle intimately connected to the life of every sentient being. For example, if a teacher is facing newly enrolled students, he will teach them the most basic letters and phonetics. However, when facing senior students, he will teach more complex essay writing. Regardless of the changes in content, the teacher's aim is always to enable students to master the practical use of the language. The Buddha was the same. His teachings varied according to individuals, but ultimately all aimed at one goal: to help sentient beings attain liberation and manifest the luminosity of their own true nature. Therefore, opportunity reflects the compassion and flexibility of the Dharma, while principle embodies the truth and profundity of the Dharma. The combination of these two enables the Dharma to accommodate the diverse capacities of sentient beings while guiding all of them towards the same ultimate goal, perfect Buddhahood. This is precisely the core wisdom of the Buddha's teachings over 49 years, and it serves as the foundation for the development of the Dharma taught by the five masters. The five teachers' teachings of the Buddha are a manifestation of his lifelong wisdom. To benefit beings of varying capacities, the Buddha categorized his teachings into 5 stages, progressing from the superficial to the profound, from esoteric doctrines to practical methods, gradually guiding sentient beings step by step toward perfect enlightenment. This process not only demonstrates the breadth and depth of the Dharma, but also reveals the great compassion of Shakyamuni Buddha. He never abandons any sentient being, but tailor-makes appropriate teachings according to their capacities and needs. The first period, the Avatamsaka period, refers to the 7 days following the Buddha Shakyamuni's enlightenment, during which he expounded the Avatamsaka Sutra. This represents the direct manifestation of the Buddha's wisdom and constitutes the fundamental supreme Dharma wheel. However, the Dharma teachings of this time, like the rising sun, can only illuminate sentient beings with great roots and faculties, akin to lofty mountains, namely the great bodhisattvas. For those with limited capacity, these profound teachings are difficult to comprehend, much like a child drinking raw milk, which not only cannot be absorbed, but also causes indigestion. Therefore, although the Dharma at this stage is the most profound and extensive, it is not accessible to everyone. The second consciousness, alaya vijnana, storehouse consciousness. Subsequently, the Buddha realized that many practitioners with limited foundational capacities were unable to comprehend the profound teachings of the Avatamsaka Sutra. Therefore, he turned to instruct the lesser noble ones, such as Shravakayana and Pratyekabadhana practitioners, at places like Deer Park, teaching them the Agama Sutras. The core of this stage is the 4 Noble Truths and the 12 links of dependent origination, teaching sentient beings to recognize the causes of suffering, practice liberation, and take the first step toward escaping the cycle of birth and death. This style of Dharma is like transforming milk into cheese, making it easier for those with lesser faculties to accept, providing them with an initial direction for practice. The third period, known as the era of the square and equilateral Dharma, is when the Buddha guided the Theravada practitioners toward Mahayana, simultaneously revealing texts such as the Consciousness Only, Vijnanavada, scriptures to Mahayana novices. This stage of teaching emphasizes the equality of the Dharma, reflecting the 84,000 Dharma doors, where all teachings, regardless of their distinctions, are equal and without discrimination. It is like the sun gradually illuminating the plateau. The breadth of the Dharma expands and its depth deepens, much like cheese further transforming into butter, with a richer flavor, yet not fully matured. The fourth consciousness, prajna consciousness. When the Dharma entered its 4th phase, the Buddha taught the Bodhisattvas the Mahaprajnaparamita Sutra, also known as the Heart Sutra. The core consciousness of this awareness, the wisdom of prajna, all reveals the emptiness nature of all dharmas, directly pointing to the characteristics of the various dharmas. Prajna is not only the core of the Dharma, but also the key to attaining Buddhahood. In this lifetime, the Dharma not only guides countless beings, but also lays the foundation for future perfection. The Dharma of this lifetime is like butter being transformed into clarified butter. Its flavor becomes richer and more refined, drawing closer to the true essence of the Buddha's teachings. In the 5th lifetime, during the Lotus Sutra and Nirvana period, at the final stage, the Buddha transmitted the Lotus Sutra, Saddharma Porka Sutra, and the Mahaparinirbha Sutra. In this lifetime's Dharma, there is no longer the discourse on dependent origination. Instead, it is purely about the ultimate, unconditioned reality, directly affirming the truth that all sentient beings are inherently Buddhas. The Buddha united the 3 sages into one, encompassing the lesser sage, the intermediate, and the great perfect within a single Buddha realm, proclaiming that all beings inherently possess Buddha nature and only need to eliminate ignorance to manifest it. This stage of the Dharma is like the ultimate transformation of milk, clarified butter, the most refined and perfect. However, This teaching at that time was difficult for those with lesser faculties to accept, as they could not believe that all sentient beings possessed the potential to attain Buddhahood. This is precisely the final teaching of the Buddha before his nirvana, intended to help all sentient beings understand that the ultimate goal of the Dharma is to guide each individual to return to their inherent Buddha nature. The 5 periods of Dharma teaching form a complete system of Buddhism, ranging from the supreme wisdom of the Avatamsaka period to the ultimate perfection of the Lotus Nirvana period. The Buddha used 5 stages to gradually let the sun shine from the high mountains to the plains, then spread its light over the entire world. It leads various sentient beings into the vast ocean of the Dharma with boundless compassion and wisdom. The teachings of the 5 masters not only demonstrate the hierarchical structure and breadth of the Dharma, but also reveal the Buddha's ultimate purpose: to enable all sentient beings to recognize their own Buddha nature, find the path to enlightenment, and ultimately achieve complete liberation. This is the most moving aspect of the Dharma, and a treasure of wisdom from which each of us can gain inspiration. The Buddha's life of teaching spanned 50 years, progressing from shallow to profound, advancing step by step, ultimately culminating in an ultimate doctrine: all sentient beings are Buddhas. At first hearing, this sentence is both shocking and hard to believe. How can ordinary beings, ensnared by greed, hatred, and ignorance, those sentient beings seemingly shrouded in the darkness of delusion, be equated with the perfectly complete and supreme Buddha? This is precisely the truth revealed by the Buddha to sentient beings during the final stage of his life, at the time of the Lotus Sutra and his parinirvana. The Buddha taught us that the difference between sentient beings and the Buddha is not an essential distinction, but lies in whether one is awakened. Within the heart of every sentient being inherently resides the pure and complete Buddha nature. This Buddha nature neither disappears due to our delusion nor increases because of our awakening. It is like a mirror, although it may become blurred due to the covering of dust. The dust is ultimately not the essence of the mirror. As long as this layer of dust is wiped away, the mirror will reveal its original clarity and brightness. However, this truth of the Buddha is not easily accepted by sentient beings. Especially for practitioners with small faculties, they believe that liberation is a long and arduous path, and only through countless lifetimes of practice can one barely approach the state of awakening as shown by the Buddha. Thus, when the Buddha expounded at the Lotus Sutra assembly that all sentient beings are Buddhas, 5,000 people immediately left the assembly. They cannot understand, nor can they accept such an immediate truth. This rejection stems precisely from their limited understanding of Buddha nature, mistakenly believing that attaining Buddhahood is an unattainable matter. Through the Lotus Nirvana teachings, the Buddha conveyed to sentient beings that the goal of practice is not to attain some external Buddha, but to return to the innate Buddha nature. Buddha nature has never left us, nor has it diminished in the slightest due to our mundane state. It is our innate essence, the fundamental basis of our existence. As long as one can break through ignorance and let go of attachments, the Buddha nature will naturally manifest. It is like a river. No matter how turbulent the flow or how the surface is disturbed by the wind, its essence remains water. The afflictions and attachments of sentient beings are like the waves on the surface of a river. Though they appear complex, they do not alter the essence of the water. The Buddha, through the teaching that all sentient beings are Buddhas, pointed the way for beings, instructing them not to be deluded by the waves, but to see the pure nature of the water. The Buddha's ultimate teaching is not to instruct us to pursue an unattainable goal, but to remind us that Buddha nature has never left. It is merely temporarily obscured by delusions and attachments. When we liberate ourselves from attachment and awaken from confusion, we realize that cultivation is not about seeking something externally, but about returning to our original true nature. This teaching is both the ultimate truth of the Dharma and the source of hope for each one of us. He tells us that no matter what circumstances we find ourselves in, regardless of the many setbacks and confusions we experience, we never truly lose our Buddha nature. As long as the seed of awakening resides in our hearts, we can always embark on the path of return. As the Buddha stated, all sentient beings are without distinction and possess the wisdom and virtues of the Tathagata. The ultimate teaching of the Buddha enlightens us to understand that practice is not an external effort, but an inner discovery. This realization is both a profound understanding of one's own nature and a respect for the equality of all sentient beings. Each of us possesses the potential to attain Buddhahood because we have inherently been endowed with Buddha nature from the very beginning. Through the teachings of the Lotus Sutra and the Nirvana Sutra, the Buddha guides us to recognize our infinite potential, helping us to believe that enlightenment is not distant, but present in every moment within our own hearts. All sentient beings are Buddhas. This is not merely a theoretical truth, but the most precious beacon of hope that the Buddha has bestowed upon the world. No matter how great the difficulties we face, no matter how deep the confusion we find ourselves in, as long as we can remember this, we will gain the strength to continue moving forward and ultimately find the door leading to enlightenment. This door has never been closed. It will open for us as soon as we turn to face it. The wisdom of the Dharma is never an unattainable theory nor a distant goal. It is like a warm river, silently nourishing every life. The Buddha, with his compassion and wisdom, revealed an important truth to all beings. The fulfillment of life has never been found in external pursuits, but always resides within the heart of each one of us. Awakening is not about creating something, but about seeing one's own Buddha nature, seeing the originally pure and complete true nature. Reviewing the Buddha's teachings from the profound depth of the Avatamsaka Sutra period to the foundational stages of the Agama period, then to the wisdom of the Prajna period, and finally to the ultimate doctrines of the Lotus Sutra and Nirvana period, it is a progressive and inclusive path. The Buddha did not simply tell us what Dharma is. Instead, he guided us step by step toward the Dharma. From the initial understanding as a beginner to deep contemplation and ultimately to final enlightenment, the wisdom of the Dharma reveals its harmonious and unobstructed nature. No matter what stage you are at, the Dharma can always resonate with you, illuminating the path ahead. The Buddha's teaching on the five consciousnesses is not only a historical doctrine, but also an inspiration. He tells us that growth and enlightenment are never achieved overnight. They require patience and time. It is like the rising sun, from the first light of dawn to illuminating the entire earth, and then to the evening's afterglow. Each stage has its significance, and every stage is a necessary process. Throughout this journey, the Buddha continuously teaches us with his wisdom and compassion that the Dharma is always with you, no matter where you are. Whether you're on the summit of a high mountain or in the depths of a deep valley, you can always encounter the light of the Dharma. Most importantly, the Buddha ultimately revealed that all sentient beings are Buddhas, allowing us to see the true hope of life. No matter how small we feel, no matter how imperfect we believe ourselves to be, the Buddha nature has never left us. All the suffering, confusion, and struggles we experience are merely clouds obscuring the sun. And when the clouds disperse, the sun still warmly hangs in the sky, illuminating all. The wisdom of this Dharma is so complete. It encompasses all things without being confined to form. It is profoundly unfathomable, yet within easy reach. It is precisely because the Dharma transcends all boundaries that it can truly bring us liberation and freedom. It does not restrict the method you use in your practice, nor does it require you to reach any particular state. It simply tells you that no matter where you are, as long as you turn inward to observe your own heart and let go of attachments and distinctions, you can find the light that belongs to you. The perfection of the Dharma is not because of its profoundness, but because it suits every individual. The unobstructed nature of the Dharma is not because it rejects challenges, but because it harmonizes with all things. The Buddha, with his wisdom, teaches us that everyone can attain enlightenment. Everyone can live freely and happily. The Dharma is not a distant other shore, but the awareness and practice of each and every present moment. On this path of awakening, we are not alone. The Buddha has already pointed out the direction for us through the teachings of the five masters. The wisdom of the Dharma has already been radiating like light throughout our lives. Ultimately, the true essence of awakening is the unobstructed wondrous function. It is the freedom that transcends right and wrong, gain and loss, and a return to the pure and eternal light within one's own heart. May the wisdom of the Dharma bring us inner peace and joy. May we face life at every moment with wisdom and compassion. May every sentient being find within their own heart the Buddhidhatu that is neither born nor ceases, and discover the great path leading to liberation and perfection. The wisdom of the Dharma is never distant. It resides perfectly unhindered in the heart of each of us, pure and pristine as at the beginning.